Okay. As far as my opening statements tonight, check out Rachel Maddow tonight if you're able to record or have MSNBC. Manafort is showing back up again in the Republican Party. If you don't remember him, he's the one who popped up during the last presidential convention for the Republicans and changed the party platform, where originally the party platform had to support Ukraine and defend against Russia. It was Manafort who changed that party platform and pulled that out. And of course, Manafort was the one who handed confidential campaign information over to the Russians. It was Manafort who was forced out of working for the Trump campaign because of his ties with Russia. And obviously, working with Russian operatives to steal Democratic campaign information and give it to Russian operatives. So he's back. He's back. They're going after Europe. It is dangerous, more dangerous than ever before, especially for our friends in Ukraine and in NATO. You see Poland making actions to try to protect themselves. New alliances that don't have the protection of the UN, trying to form new alliances. So it's a very dangerous time in Europe. It's a very dangerous time for our country. And now is not the time to get off our laurels. Now is the time to find whatever you want to work for and help, whether it's a local campaign, a national campaign, somebody to help turn a seat, or just helping us with getting the word out and contacting legislatures. So it is going to be a very dangerous time between now and this election. And we need to all be working towards the one goal in defeating Donald Trump. I want to welcome the chair of the Alameda County Democratic Party. I want to thank him for coming tonight and welcome Igor Tregub, and he's going to give us an update, hopefully on the efforts to help Ukraine, as well as what we're doing in the party at the local level, at the county level, and also some of the information. I've been sending it out, but he's going to update us regarding the delegate information. So thank you, Igor. I'm going to turn the floor over to you. And if you'd like me to make you a co-host, let me know.
Well, thank you so much, Jackie, and it's good to see so many familiar faces here, and welcome to first-time members of the Tri-Valley Democratic Club as well. Um, Thank you so much for everything you did for to defend our democracy um, in the March primaries. Uh, at the party level, thanks to your collective support, we have enjoyed we have achieved, I should say, a 93% win record. Um, this is counting all the local, state, and federal races and ballot measures in which the Democratic Party made an endorsement. Many of these folks that we endorsed, if it's a top two primary, will be advancing to November. And we have a lot of work to do, my friends. As Jackie said, democracy itself is on the line. I'm happy to talk to you a little bit about how to get involved at the national level by running for DNC. And Jackie also in an email provided some information, and this is from the DNC itself. So I'm going to touch a little bit on this, but the application link is in your email. There are three types of delegates, or three different ways that you can become a delegate to the national convention. One way is through the by being a district level delegate. Another is to be an at-large delegate. District level must submit a form called Form A, pledge your support to a presidential candidate. Hopefully, we're all going to get behind Biden. And that filing period actually ends March 21st. So it's a very short form. I filled it out. It takes less than 5 minutes to do. I definitely encourage you to do it. On April 21st, there will be a caucus in each congressional district where Democrats will be able to vote to slate delegates. So if you haven't been through this before, it's kind of, if you've seen ADEM elections, you can either run by yourself or put together a slate of folks and then bring people out to vote for you. There are two other ways to apply. One is by being a at-large delegate, where you would need to submit Form B, which should also be in that email. That filing period closes April 24th. And then there's a third category for party leaders and elected officials, also known as pleos. These can be big city mayors, statewide elected officials, state legislative leaders, state legislators, other state, county, and local elected officials, and California Democratic Party leaders. And if you think you might be one of those, you should submit Form C, which also closes on April 24th. I definitely encourage you to complete all three of those forms. And there's also a link that I will drop in the chat, and it talks about the what the state did for its selection plan. Every state Democratic Party has to do a DNC selection plan that ensures diversity within these different categories. Oh, and Jackie may have already posted this. Yep, it's the same link. So that's great. And I'm happy to answer any questions about that. We are going to, there is a state executive board meeting happening the month of May. One of the things that those of us who are executive board representatives will be doing is voting on our DNC, our 20 DNC members. DNC members are different than delegates. Delegates attend the DNC convention, but members attend multiple DNC meetings over the course of the next biennium, the next 2 years. Actually, yeah. Sorry, the next 4 years. So it's a 4-year term. And in order to any registered Democrat can file. It's not too late to do that. So if you're interested, let me find that link as well. You can also see the list of declared DNC candidates on the link that I'm about to, whoops, that I will send you as soon as I can pull it up myself off of the CDP website. The Central Committee at its last meeting heard from over half of declared candidates, and we'll be hearing from the remainder of declared candidates. Everyone for whom I have an email has been invited, which is almost everyone. And we have heard from most of them. The next opportunity to hear from folks is April 3rd. And if you missed our Central Committee meeting last Wednesday, thanks to everything that Jackie does, we have an active live stream. You can go on our Facebook page, which I will also put in the chat, and you can take a look at the live stream. So I'm happy to stop here and see if there are any questions, but let me just, again, thank you so much for being the margin of democracy. And, while a 93% win record is great, my friends, we have work to do. Even in Alameda County, we're looking at just over 30% voter turnout. So our local party will continue to work with a broad coalition of grassroots Dems and other organizers to register folks to vote, because when we vote, we win. And we're going to be contesting the road to the White House and the road to a congressional majority goes through California. We have some must-win seats, my friends. There are several seats in the Central Valley. There are several seats in Southern California that are very close that Biden actually carried in the last election. And when all of us volunteer, which I know all of us will, we'll be able to hopefully have a less intransigent Congress, which is the number one way that we can save democracy across the world, including in my homeland of Ukraine. Instead of having a speaker that is basically ruling over Putin's party and holding a $60 billion aid package for Ukraine and Taiwan hostage over the course of 6 months, we will have something better. We will have a Democratic majority. So thank you so much for everything that you do in Slava Ukraini. Again, Ellis, how you doing, brother? Good to see you.
Thank you for showing up here, Igor. I appreciate it. The delegates that are going to be selected in the caucus, the first group that you mentioned, I think that was the Form A group. In the past, the caucus was required to be live attendance. And at least that was the case in 2016 when I ran a caucus. The question is, will there be voting somehow online? That is, you're requesting a ballot and they send it to you. It seems to me we did that in 2020. Or will it be all live?
That's a great question.
The congressional caucus. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a great question, and this is where, in all honesty, I suggested to Jackie, you really want a regional director like Rocky Fernandez here, or in your area, Victor Costa, to be able to, they might be more in the loop about this. By the way, I just posted in the chat a better link to our live stream. But
it wasn't mentioned in the live stream, at least on the first night when you had all of the statewide candidates, including Christine Pelosi there. But maybe it was mentioned the second night we had to go someplace else.
We can definitely happy to inquire. My guess is that they're still figuring out the details. In 2016, it was all in person. In 2020, it was all virtual. Ideally, it would be nice if it was hybrid. I don't know if they're going to be able to get it together. We have been trying to kind of get the party to make it easier to hold hybrid meetings for caucuses. And that's
I think in 2020 it was hybrid because I remember having a live meeting at Rossmore, and most of the people did it by mail. We did it by mail, but we picked up 50 additional votes of people who came in live to Rossmore. Wasn't actually in Rossmore, it was outside on Ties Valley Road. But anyway, it's been a mixture. So the state party is going to inform us which way they're going to go.
Yeah, for me, it was last 4 years ago when I ran for delegate. At least in my congressional district, it was all virtual because we were still at the height of COVID without a vaccine yet available. But
Maybe it was 2022 that we went hybrid.
I'll reach out to
Flood.
Victor and see if he has the answer or if it's still being worked out.
Okay.
Yeah, you may be referring to ADEMS, which I think, yeah, was hybrid. But
I
yeah,
did have one question, unless there's somebody with their hand up before me. I wasn't looking here. Oh, it's just me. Okay. There's we have the list of district level at large PLEO delegates, but then there's 72 unpledged delegates. Who are they? Where do they come from? How does that work?
it's a great
It's not
question.
listed here.
That is a
Is
that
that another Victor question?
I think so. That is another Victor question.
Okay.
We can I can also reach out to the state party, find out.
Ellis, did you have any additional question before I lower your hand?
No, I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Igor.
Yeah. And then the last thing I wanted to put in the chat, see, the Central Committee elections were interesting, and there was a lot of competition. And it seems that folks have a grandiose idea of the powers that the party chair actually has. So the one power that the chair does have is I can appoint folks to committee of the Central Committee. And we have a number of committees that are working on advancing good legislation or stopping bad legislation at the state and federal level, on resolutions, making sure that the resolutions we pass are a statement of our shared progressive or shared democratic values. We have a committee that's very important, charged with getting out the vote. It's our Political and Community Action Committee. And then we have committees that are based around fundraising, budget, finance, and doing events. So if any of you are interested in being a part of that, I just put that link in the chat. It's a very short Google form, and look forward to getting you appointed. Again, thank you again so much for being the margin of democracy.
Thank you, Igor. Does anybody have any additional questions for Igor? Thank you, sir.
Keep up the great work.
Thanks, and we'll see you soon. I need to get my committee going. I have not had a committee meeting in a while, so bad on me. Okay, next up, we were gonna try to get Rebecca Bauer-Cahan here to speak in regards to these two bills. However, her schedule did not allow. So Ellis reviewed the bills and wrote a resolution, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the floor over to Ellis, and I will share a document for him. Okay, Ellis, let me go ahead and find my doc here.
Right. Well, Rebecca wrote she wrote an email to Jackie, which got forwarded on to me, saying that she is supporting two bills, 2054 and 1999. Wasn't 1999 something by Prince, I think? Yeah. Anyway, so much for my rock and roll trivia. They both concern PG&E. One concerns the fixed part of our PG&E bill, which has to do with servicing PG&E lines, because that costs about the same for everybody. And we can't really associate it with power delivered, that is kilowatt hours or BTUs of gas. So as you probably realize, if you're paying a PG&E bill, that they keep on creeping up, and each of the PG&E increments has to be approved by the California PUC and somebody called the California Energy Commission, which I hadn't heard of prior to this letter that Rebecca sent. So the one bill has to do with capping that service fee at $10 per month. And I believe they're trying to push over that all the time. And the second bill had to do with PUC commissioners and California Energy Commission commissioners taking jobs with the very companies that they're supposed to be regulating. Right now, the law says that they can't take a job with them for 2 years, and this would expand that to 10 years. So these two bills are meant to somewhat rein in PG&E, but the second one, which had to do with taking jobs with the companies that you regulate, has to do with all the companies that are regulated, including the telephone company and anybody else that may be regulated by those two commissions. The commissioners are, in fact, appointed by the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. And in researching this, I stumbled upon something that apparently there were some meetings between Gavin Newsom and, surprise, surprise, PG&E. And ABC News, through their law department, have requested and are going to be provided minutes to this previously secret meeting between PG&E and Gavin Newsom. So that's kind of an aside on this. I've explained what this is, but let's see, I have it on one of these screens. Just a second. Resolution by the Tri-Valley Democratic Club in support of AB 2054 and AB 1999. And as some of you know about resolutions, there are 3 whereas statements and 2 therefore be it resolved statements. And the whereas statements are a run-on sentence, and they're supposed to be a run-on sentence. So here goes. Whereas the utility bills are skyrocketing for PG&E ratepayers, while PG&E posts high profits and is paying fines associated with fires caused by the neglect of the utility, and the California Utilities Commission and California Energy Commission fail to act in the public interest when regulating those rates. And the next paragraph, whereas California Public Utilities Commission and California Entities Commission appointed by, it should be commissioners, appointed by the governor currently are allowed to seek employment with the utility they regulate 2 years after leaving the commission, with the implementation of possible corruption, implication of possible corruption of the commissioners. And whereas in order to address the issues of skyrocketing PG&E rates and the appearance of possible corruption of public utilities commissioners, AB 1999 caps the fixed fees on the utility bill at $10 per month, and AB 2054 imposes a decisive 10-year cooling off period for commissioners at the PUC and CEC before they can work for the regulated entity, covering the revolving door between regulators and industry. And therefore, be it resolved, the Tri-Valley Democratic Club will make its support known to, excuse me, I missed a paragraph. Therefore, it is resolved that the Tri-Valley Democratic Club supports AB 2054 and AB 1999 and encourages the legislature to pass these bills and encourages the governor to sign them into law. And therefore, it is further resolved that the Tri-Valley Democratic Club will make its support known to members of the legislature, the public, and the press. And that last part means that should we vote to support these two assembly bills, I will write a press release and get them out to the press, and who knows, it might even get carried someplace. So, any questions?
I just have something else to add here. Last Wednesday, AB 1999 did pass the Central Committee. AB 2054 did. There was one outstanding question, and it was regarding, and this has to do with the 10-year cooling off period. The concern came from Marie Gilmore, and it was related to laws governing non-disclosure, NDAs, those type of things that employees sign, that there may be some legal reasons why the 10 years is going to be challenged in court. So that question was sent back to Rebecca, and actually right before the end of our ledge meeting, Rebecca Bauer-Cahan said there was no concern legally with it. Yet when it went to committee, it was still in a hold status. That will, I'm sure, be cleared next month in the Central Committee. It should have been cleared because at the end she confirmed that there was no concern with that 10-year period legally. And so we should have took that hold off, but when it was presented to the committee, Ioana said it was still on hold. So we'll let it go to the official vote, get cleared there. And then as a committee on the ledge committee, I will be sending a letter on behalf of the Central Committee. And I will use the same type of language to also send a letter through the ledge committee directly to the legislators. And we can follow this through all the way to the governor's signature as well.
Well,
there's a question in the chat. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see it real quick.
is there a question?
Okay, here, Kyoko is just added that Livermore Indivisible has endorsed both bills, and she provided sample support letters. Thank you, Kyoko. I love cut and paste. I can put my logo on right after your little signature.
Right. And, our job is to have a political impact. If you think about what the political impact of this is, it's that we're showing support for something that Rebecca is doing, our supported candidates, and trying to make our candidates look good. Whether or not this holds up in court or gets through the committee in Sacramento, if we get in the paper or on some other news media, then we've helped Rebecca and we've had a political impact. So let the legislature do their job, which is sorting out whether it's legal or not, and then fighting out with whoever in court. Meanwhile, our job is to have a political impact, and I think this does. So,
And by the way, I did send in the invitation for this meeting. There's a link. You can read the full detail. You know, feel free to read through the full detail. I'm glad that the Central Committee is doing that work, though, because I've attended their meetings before where people didn't even read the bill and voted on it. So we do want to encourage them to read it, be thorough, ask questions. I mean, it's better to have a good bill at the end of the day and not ask the questions up front. Mary, do you have a question?
I have a comment and two questions. And my comment is, well, it's halfway a question, and that is if the CPUC people are appointed by the governor, but it's my understanding that they have also been appointed, some of them, by previous governors. Is that correct? So then that needs to be stated. It shouldn't all be blamed on Newsom.
I see what you're saying. So you're talking about the resolution.
Correct.
Okay.
And
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Let's let Mary finish her comments first, and then you
Well,
can.
I have read that other governors have appointed some people who are still on at least the CPUC. I don't know about the other commission. Is there any material in the job description of commissioners for either CPUC or the other commission prohibiting them from owning shares in PG&E and other companies? Because that's a conflict of interest, and I'm quite concerned about that.
I don't know if that's in the existing law. What was being done in this was changing the 2-year cooling off to a 10-year. There may be language in there, but I didn't read through that kind of detail, but we can find out.
And in terms of the terms of service for commissioners, is it limited or is it a lifetime or until resignation kind of terms? It's not part of our resolution, but I'm just curious whether it's they have term limits, because they should.
Well, if what you were saying is that they could have been appointed by some other governor, then it probably is until the term limit's up. But that's conjecture. I could be wrong about that, and they could just stay as long as the governor says it's okay.
I would be curious about that. I think it's something we should know for future.
It says here, according to my wonderful Googler, commissioners are appointed to the CPUC for 6-year terms and require Senate confirmation within 1 year of taking the oath of office. The CPUC regulates services and utilities, protects consumers, safeguards the environment. So it's every 6-year term.
Thank you. And there was another commission that was alluded to. My question is for them as well.
Energy Commission.
Right.
I think
California Energy Commission.
CEC, correct? This proposition elected should be amended. Proposition, no, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that commission. I'd have to do a lot more research on it.
Because I've got this whole thing stinks as far as I'm concerned. But those were my thoughts.
Thank you. Kyoko, you had your hand up earlier.
Yeah,
Did Mary?
yes, so I think if we want to be solo, the best thing we can do is to invite some person who are really familiar with these things, because this whole thing was brought up because last October, Governor Newsom actually passed through AB 805. I can't remember the number, but that actually prompted to give the go to have this January's huge rate hike. And again, we actually had a smaller rate hike, I think last week also. So CPUC has been going really yes for everything investor-owned utility companies are doing. Meanwhile, PG&E had a 25% increase for the profit. And to me, what's really strange is they have two separate rates. One is for the rates for the usage of the energy, and the another part is for the infrastructure. So they deliver all the electricity, so they actually get money, and that's where they can make money on. They didn't take care of the infrastructure. They did the bankruptcy, and now they want us to pay everything. That's just kind of like really, suck for the consumers. And not only that, if you think about $30 a month increase, it's $360 a year. A lot of people are still paying. We're actually, trying to pay every year to meet the ends. So this whole thing is really, really bad. On top of that, if the CPUC actually approves, we're going to have another $30 to $70 a month rate hike. So this is something what we really need to learn and dig in and work on it. That's all I can say about it. So I know a little bit more than you guys, but I'm not expert, and we should actually have expert. And probably Greg can bring some different opinions on this one as well. So we should really have a deeper conversation. We did, Livermore Individual has endorsed both bills by the steering committees, and they are proposed in the California Individual to be voted on to become the priority bills. So we will be working on these bills this year for sure, but more Dems should be educated about it. There's no question about that.
Do we want to endorse these bills as a club, but do further work on the resolution and letters to make sure that we get that right, dated?
Okay, can I suggest that this resolution didn't come up until this meeting? In fact, as I wrote it yesterday, I think. But anyway, we usually give at least 5 days notice. And since we haven't, why don't we consider this meeting the notice on it and vote officially on it at the next meeting? It isn't a burning issue that we have to pass something right away. But I also have a comment on what Kyoko had to say, which is that they got fined and now they want the ratepayers to pay the fine. And what we should be pushing for, and it's not anywhere near this legislation, is that when there's a court order that a utility like PG&E is fined, that the money has to come by them printing more stock. That is selling more stock. It's a reverse stock buyback. It's a stock sell-off that would dilute the value of the current stockholders to pay for the fine, which they're responsible for because they didn't hire a board of directors that would put in the infrastructure that might have prevented those fires. So it's a little bit different concept, but every time a corporation gets fined, they just pass it on to their ratepayers, whoever their customers are. And that's not fair. They should be paid by the owners of corporations, which are the stockholders, and the stock should be diluted. Anyway, that's my feeling on it.
Okay, we can hold off for more info and vote on this next month. You have the full text of the bills in your email. You can just click on those links and it'll take you to the text. I will follow up regarding how the CEC term limits and stuff work. Also do a little more research on restrictions on buying stock in these entities that they regulate. So I will follow up on that and include it with our next month's meeting information.
There's an organization called Turn, which is a watchdog organization that watches the PUC, and maybe we can get a speaker from Turn to come in here, answer some of these questions. We're looking for an expert, and I agree with Kyoko that we ought to have an expert on it. Makes us smarter and helps them also.
Okay. Any
I'll
other?
look for somebody I'll find somebody to speak from Turn, or at least try to.
And Mary, you're waving your hand. Did you have another comment? Except you're muted. Hold on.
I had a question.
There you go.
So you said that a lot of this stuff is in our email, which I'm looking through my email and I do not see it. When
It
was
would-
this?
It would have come this morning on the email that I sent today, and let me just paste it in the chat. How about that? Right underneath with the agenda. So it has the agenda, but here is, it's not going to paste right. I'll forward it to you, Mary.
Thank you.
I didn't get any email this morning from her.
I'll forward it to you as well. It should have come from the Tri-Valley Democratic Club. It said meeting tonight. But I will forward it out to you guys.
Would that be TV media, TV DC media, or TV Dems media?
It's coming from tvdimsmedia@gmail.com.
Okay.
Tonight on Zoom with the Zoom link right underneath, join the Tri-Valley Democratic Club. We have the agenda for tonight, and there's a link to both of those bills.
Okay.
I think we had to go back through your emails to get the ID and password.
Anyway,
tonight.
that's the political director's report, and I'm not sure. Did you send the meeting minutes out to last meeting?
Yes, I sent your meeting minutes. I'll have to dig up that link. Let me go ahead through the election results real quick and do the treasurer report, then we'll finish up on that. Let's see. First off, election results. They're still coming in. They're not done. Okay, here's the state of California. The reason I'm bringing this one up first, because we do have some areas that are crossing over. So we'll deal with the state level and the state Senate seats that are crossing over Alameda and Contra Costa. As you can see, as of Friday, the 15th, Alameda County still had 44,382 votes to count. It's been really slow. As of Friday, they had 78,000. So I assume this week they're going to probably start catching up. The other thing the Alameda County registrar is now challenged with is they have to go through all those recall signatures and validate all those signatures, and they have so many days to do it. So these votes are coming in very, very slowly. On the Contra Costa side, as of Friday, there were 650 ballots still yet to be counted. So they're well ahead of us in processing their ballots. So they're much closer to being some of the final numbers. As far as where we're sitting, we still have 25 days left to validate all the signatures. The presidential For the Democrats, obviously Joe Biden, it looks good. They tried to play some games with some names like President R. Bodie underneath there. Actually got a few thousand people to vote for. They thought maybe they're voting for Joe Biden. I don't know. And then we don't really care about the Republicans, but I can just, I'll show you Alameda County. It's an interesting number, just how few Republicans voted. It was kind of encouraging. As a matter of fact, let's look at President Republican. So here we can see in California about 3 million, over 3,120,000 people voted for Joe Biden. And probably another 24,000 thought they were voting for Joe Biden. In the Republicans, 1.9192. So Democrats far outweigh the Republicans. And when we get down to Alameda County, it's even, it's better. It's much better. So let's jump into the county reporting. Alameda County, voter registration and turnout. So far, they've counted 265,401. I think Contra Costa was a little more, about 280 or so. This is what I'm talking about with the Democratic turnout versus the Republican. Democrats cast 182,752 ballots in Alameda County. The Republicans only processed 36,159 ballots. That's how far, I mean, there is no energy behind the Republicans right now. Let's keep it that way.
That's
Yeah.
not true, because the number of the voters, Republican side, it's so much lower. So you cannot just compare the numbers.
Well, it's encouraging that they don't have a lot of turnout. Even,
It's
I
not
mean,
the turnout. They don't have lots of Republicans voters in Alameda County.
I understand,
So
Kyoko. My
that's
point
a
is, it's
thing.
better than having head-to-head even numbers fighting against each other. This is encouraging.
No, but
to me.
Alameda's a Lewis
that is
County.
a problematic conversation, because all over California, actually Republican consistently voting. So they are outperforming in the primary.
So they actually have the turnout here. So they do have the percentage. Here's total registration. Okay.
Yeah.
Right here, this number. So that's how many Republicans are registered in
So
Alameda
look at the
County,
number.
as opposed to 93,900, you know, whatever, 900 and
Yeah. But
thousand.
look at the number of the turnout. I think Democrats are about just over 30. I think they are getting closer.
You have to go to the state one here. And look
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but the ACROV is very confusing about how many ballots they actually received. So there's a link right there that I threw in the chat, and that gives you have to subtract the two.
Say that again. Who's that speaking? Is that
Oh,
Richard?
sorry, it's Nelson here from from Oakland. Sorry. Yeah, so if you go into the chat right now, I threw a link in there, and that's actually the ROV data on how many ballots they actually received.
Where did you get? Oh, this is.
Yeah, isn't it weird? It's like buried. Okay,
Where is that thing?
I know, right? It's so weird, but like hopefully they'll revamp it next time, because LA County and San Francisco County, they have a much more clear chart. Okay, there it is.
Why don't you walk through this with me then, since you
Okay,
got
so scroll, right, it's right there. So yeah, so you can see how many affiliated ballots there are. So there's actually 107,000 ballots issued for Republicans. And yes, they didn't vote in our county that much. They only returned them so far at 12%. 13%.
12.8 right here. So this is Republican and this is Democrat.
Yeah,
That
they
is
need
a-
to.
That is an overall
Fine.
number. So, yeah, that's actually no, that's not how we actually count.
Oh, you know what? This is
turnout.
vote by mail. And okay.
Never
hold
mind. We don't need to go through this tonight.
No,
Anyway.
but I agree with Kyoko. Particularly vulnerable right now are the Southern California districts in South County, Los Angeles, Orange County, Riverside, and San Diego. Because right now what you're seeing there is that a third of those electorates are NPP independent, and they're going to swing a lot more right than people are expecting. So a lot of these Dem candidates, particularly for those congressional seats that they're trying to flip, are very vulnerable.
And why do you say the no party preference swings Republican? Is that just Southern Cal?
A lot of it is Southern Cal right now because I think there's just a really, I don't know, like a very angry electorate down there. And they're really not into this like two-party system right now. But in the end, a lot of them that are NPP and independent are very much in that kind of libertarian, physically very conservative camp. I mean, it's a lot of just angry folks over 55. Yeah.
Yeah, so the worst case scenario is they vote for the Republican, a little bit better and still problematic case is they will not vote for anything they don't agree with. So the congressional district roll-off is very common. So we will have really hard time to get their support. That's what everybody is saying right now. But
Okay.
just go back to the county.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back. No, I didn't even know that page exists. Thank you for, I'll have to find out how to drill into it. It's very-
Isn't that kooky? Yeah, you just have to subtract the two between total ballots cast in the main page and then the total ballots submitted on the page that I sent.
Got it. Thank you so much. And let's talk about some of the things that we are tracking, some of the folks that we did endorse back at the state level. Sorry, I'm gonna go back. State Senate, District 5, Jerry McNerney, woo, will be going and will be going up against Jim Shoemaker in the general. So thank you for everybody who knocked on doors and called people and texted people. It worked, and we got our candidate over the if this holds 25 days more, it should, then we should be good. And the numbers looked, you can here at the state level, you can drill between Alameda County and San Joaquin if you're curious how we did from county to county. Unfortunately, our candidate in District 9, Marisol, does not look like she's gonna win this in the primary. But I believe she did win in the central committee there, so at least she will be working with us in the central committee. On the county level,
Jackie?
yes.
It's a top 2 primary. So Marisol and Tim Grayson both go to general, so it doesn't really matter. It's just a long race.
Oh, so
No
we can.
matter
still
how
work
much
for- I'm sorry, I
percentage-
didn't realize that for if I thought that was only 50% or more.
No,
He got
that's
60%.
congressional. It's
Okay,
county ones are all, if they get 50%, they win outright. But all the state registration, congressional, it's top 2. So just top 2 goes to the general election. So she still has a long way to go.
Yes, I'm a senior volunteer from Marisol. Yeah, she's going to the job.
thank
She's-
you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I figured I thought it was 50% threshold. Okay, so that's good news. Yay. Yay, Marisol. Let's see, any other state level contests that anybody wanted to look at? State Assembly. Was it 13? Okay, in the State Assembly with Rhodesia Ransom versus Edith Villapudua. It looks like it will be the Republican Mendez along with Rhodesia moving forward. So both the Villapuduas are out of it at this point.
What were Rhodesia's numbers? What percentage did she get? You're off the screen on the number part of it for me.
Oh,
Anyway.
it's, oops, where my screen, my whole screen went away.
She took 42% and she's number one seat.
41,
Okay, so she got 41.8.
41.9.
41 point, I'm sorry, it's real small on my screen.
7.8. And it didn't even get half of, well, actually, it's about half of Rhodesia's. But the total number of them outweighs the Republicans, so she is going to win in general as well.
at the county, we looked at, hold on. In the judge seat, District 12, our candidate, we endorsed Mark Fickus. He is leading at 55.44% as opposed to 44.56 Mr. Johnson has. So Mark is sitting well. And there is another seat here. If you were in Alameda County, you got to vote for Mr. Wiley. And he ran unopposed, so he will also get a court seat. I don't know what that means.
I'm sorry to interrupt again. No, Terry Wiley ended up dropping out of the race.
He did?
Yes, yes. So he's not, that's not, yeah. No, I asked Mark Fix directly. Yeah, he dropped out.
Interesting, because I was going to ask him, I was going to send him a note because he was just given a position in San Francisco. The first time, like what is an attorney general or something in San Francisco that he just was appointed to. So I was going to call him and say, so what does that mean?
Oh, yes, yes. The position was Office of the Inspector General, which is like police oversight and that type judicial oversight stuff.
So did he file all this stuff before he was appointed that seat? Is that what happened?
Yeah, and then he decided on the, you know, the nice the nice bureaucratic seat instead.
So I wonder what they will do with this seat. They just appoint somebody then? Interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. I guess it goes to the Attorney General, right? Or yeah.
Okay. I'll call Terry. I'll drop him a note. I congratulated him when he got that other seat in the city.
The supervisor's race also. Jennifer Steen and Nate Miley.
I think Nate Miley was winning, I think.
Yeah. Well,
the county seats, let's talk about the county seats. So we heard from candidates for AD 16. This is for Central Committee. Again, there's still ballots to count. So us in the bottom three, we're very close. So I'm not counting my chickens yet till they're hatched, but this is the way it's sitting so far. Cheryl Cook-Callio and Patricia, they're definitely going to be in. Between myself, Jan, and Seema, we're very close. So we'll be tracking that as they continue to count ballots. In the 20th, right, this had a huge field. We heard from several candidates here. This is where they're looking right now. I think down to Ed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Ed and above, it looks like so far, they have a bit of a gap between the rest of the crowd. So this may be who we're with in the 20th right now. Feel free to look at this website at your convenience to drill down to all these other seats. But on the 4th, we did listen to both candidates. We did not reach a 60% threshold. So we did not make an endorsement in this race, but so far it looks like Nate Miley will win his seat back. Jennifer is sitting at 38.65%. Again, there's still ballots to count, but it's quite a bit of a difference here. She has an uphill battle. Now the county, since this one is county, this will be the final, correct? I don't want to say anything wrong. I've blown it a couple times here already. So, is that correct, Ellis? Since it's
What the county results?
Yeah, it's just
The
those
county
two.
results are Nate Wiley is in. He doesn't have to be on the ballot in November. Won't be on the ballot in November.
Okay, just wanted to make sure it wasn't the top two going, that this will be the
I already embarrassed myself on the last time he ran. I said, "Oh, we'll back in November." He said, "I thought I won in June." So,
well, then if you
a
make
little
the
egg on
mistake,
my
I don't feel
face.
so bad. If you make the same mistake, I don't feel so bad then.
No,
Okay.
I did it face to face with him.
So what's happening with Pamela Price? I know she's being recalled too.
Let me finish these guys. I have just a couple
Okay.
more. The flood control zone 7, the full term. We did not endorse in this, but you can see here, it looks like Lauren, Kathy, and Sandy, our incumbents, will be going back. So far, still counting. The temporary one, this is for Olivia San Juan, won 2 seats at, I guess she won in the water board. She also got onto the Parks District. And so she's stepping down from this, from the water board, and Catherine Brown, it looks like is going to take that easily. And then on the measures, measure A and B, these are related to, they only needed 50% to pass. It looks like both of these are going to pass. One was related to hiring jobs and how long they have to be posted, kind of shortening that window. And then the second one was related to recalls and aligning some of the recall rules with the state, so that if we get to this recall, we don't have constitutional challenges. But anyways, it looks like both of these are going to pass. The others are not necessarily things that affect the ballot. Is there any other race that anybody has questions about before we talk about the recall?
How is Adam Gray doing in, is it 13?
Who is that?
Adam Gray.
So Adam Gray actually made it second. Almost every single congressional district flippable Republican received 50%, 55% total. It's not necessarily just the one candidate, but the total Republican share has been 55%. So they outperformed them for sure. Will Lawrence, Congressional District 41, did a little bit better in that district. So it was about 52%, I think, Republican. So he has the best chance at this point. but I think 55-45 when the Republicans were voting more means we have really good chance in general election. So the only upset was CA 45. California Democratic Party endorsed Kim Nugent, lost to Trump. I can't remember the guy.
Derek Trump.
Yeah, Derek Trump. Yeah, so that vote is about like 300 votes difference. So it was very close, but it seems like she lost.
And Linda's asking about the races that we did not reach an endorsement. Like Adam Schiff, can we go back and seek the endorsement? At this point, from the Central Committee's perspective and the state party, he is the endorsed candidate. So we definitely can go back as a club and endorse him. We could put any of the people that won on consent and do them all through a consent, and members can pull somebody from that if they wish. I did invite Adam Schiff's campaign back. I wanted to hopefully get him back to an event, a live event. So it was so exciting to see him. And so we are trying to do that. But of course, he knows, his campaign knows too, that he's now the presumptive nominee. So it's going to be harder to get him back to the club. But I will continue to work on that. And anybody else who has poll, we would love to have him come back. So we will continue to work on that. And Brody, I see you online. If there's something we can do as a joint club to pull our resources together, I'm all for to do that as well. If we can get him back in one place and work together to make it a huge event. So definitely we will be endorsing in those races. Hi, Brody.
Hi, that's an interesting idea, Jackie. I didn't think of that, but that would be nice. Adam Schiff was really loved by Danville. He was born and raised in Danville in Alamo. Oh, you probably know. Okay, yeah. But but I don't know. We'll have to talk about it because I'm not sure where we would actually have that kind of meeting.
We had 100 people at the IBEW for a breakfast meeting with them, and it was fabulous.
Yeah.
We could also do something at maybe the Dublin Park.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to my members because I don't know if my members would want to drive to Dublin. I don't know if they're used to.
We will work with you. We'll meet you halfway.
We'll talk about it. That's a great idea, Jackie. Thank you.
Okay, we'll talk. Thank you, Brody. Any other questions about the election and results? Kyoko.
Not about results, but the more important than Adam Schiff is to invite the candidates from the Central Valley and to get actions going. So we are not going to lose congressional districts. We need to win those California districts to win back the majority in the House. So we should be focusing on that, not Adam Schiff. He's gonna win no matter what. So
well, I'm going to get people to the club too, though. So that's an exciting way to get them to the club. I would love to work with you, Kyoko, to get that list of priorities. Can you give me a list of priorities, races that you're working on? I know you're working on lots of phone calls and texting and everything else.
Yeah, so Saturday, I was in the Patterson knocking on doors. So the Bay Area Coalition is knocking on doors in CA13 and CA22, and they convinced TEDEMS to do the issue canvassing. So now through like summer, we are just actually asking voters what their concerns are. And of course, at the same time, trying to recruit voters to volunteer. So the volunteering part is really important. Also, getting familiar with the voters in those districts. So we will form the relationship, and they are even talking about same campuses if they go back the same place. And I really would love to, because I knocked 23 doors in 2 hours, because some of the conversation was like 15-20 minutes. I couldn't knock a lot of
Yes.
doors, but I talked 8 voters, and 3 conversation was over 10 minutes long. So it was really productive, and I did recruit 1 volunteer. So their tactics right now is trying to get precinct captain, we used to try to do literally relational organizing.
I'm
in
surprised
every
Brody came to the
district.
meeting.
So that's
Yeah.
what they're trying to do, and I would love them, tribal Dems and Sunday mobile Dems joining to actually going and knocking on doors early on, because during the summertime it's going to be so hot and hard to knock on doors in Central Valley. That's all.
Kyoko, so in this campaign that the Bay Area Coalition is doing, it's not going to be in our own neighborhoods like what we did with Jerry, right? We're going to be targeting swing areas. What areas are we targeting when we're doing this work?
CA13 and CA22, because those are the most flippable congressional districts in California.
Okay. I'll work with Kyoko, the Swing Left team, and Livermore Indivisible and what they're doing, and we will partner with them and get all our team members that information. So CD 13 and 22 will be over 103 in the summer. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Remind me, is 22 Tulare, Bakersfield, that sort of thing? Rudy Salas?
It's like Lathrop and all of that. Yeah.
No,
13
let's
is
go
Lathrop.
all the way through the mail set, it's CA13, and further down south is CA22. So the Bay Area Coalition actually secured some funding by Mike Thompson, Congress members Mike Thompson and John Garamendi actually gave the money to the volunteers. So we are gonna actually have some stipends for the campuses to go to the CA22. And I would love our Congress member to do the same. So there are lots of things we can actually think about on that.
Okay, so we have lots of work to do. Thank you.
Nelson's
Nelson?
hand's been up for a while.
Nelson.
Yeah, thank you, you guys. I know that Indivisible, Bay Area Coalition, Swing Left, they've all been concentrated on these 6 districts, right? But it looks like one of them, CD45, is going to keep with Michelle Steele. I think no matter what, they ran such a fragment, the Dems ran such a fragmented primary, and Derek, and I don't know if that's going to recoalesce against Michelle Steele. So I actually, there are some unsung, underappreciated congressional races in the northern districts. So Congressional District 1 and also Congressional District 3 are also very low capacity items that a club like this might want to consider. So Rose Yee is running for Congressional District 1, and it's a massive congressional district. It's really hard to walk, right? Because there's no really clustered, concentrated metropolitan areas up there. So she's just asking for low capacity items right now, just a little bit of phone banking Thursdays and Saturdays. Very, very low profile, but she already got the KDM endorsement. She's vetted. She's a very decent person. She runs an environmental investment fund for various projects to get more green. So I'll just throw a little bit of information in the chat for the club.
Perfect, thank you, because we definitely need options for folks. Not everybody can get out there and walk and go door to door. So phone banking, low impact stuff is good to have options. Thank you so much. Any other comments, questions regarding elections? I'm going to go ahead now and turn this over to Alan. Are you still on for my treasury report?
I'm still here.
Yes,
We
sir.
did not have a very active month, okay? For the month, we had total dues paid of $40. We had expenses for the credit card fees of $1.77, leaving us a net increase of $38.23. Our beginning balance was $2,656.17. Our ending balance is $2,694.40. The one thing that's interesting is our balance a year ago, we're actually about $40 ahead of a year ago, which is pretty darn close. But we're going to get out some emails to people who were members last year, not this year, and just see what we can do for membership. And if anybody wants to, you could bring this up to about being a membership chair, maybe would be helpful. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Some business. I did send this in. I sent this to everybody in the invite today, but I'm going to share it on the screen. The Eden area UDC is having a fundraiser this week. It's their annual St. Patrick's Day fundraiser, corned beef cook-off with the firemen. The state controller will be a keynote speaker, also State Senator Aisha Wahab, Assembly Member Liz Ortega, and Yesenia Sanchez, our sheriff, will be the mistress of ceremonies. Ticket prices are here. It's $50 individual, all kinds of sponsoring. I did send you all the link. If you just click on this image in the notice that I sent today, it will take you to purchase those tickets. I will be attending and meeting up with Rebecca Barracahan's campaign person, or excuse me, Eric Swalwell's campaign person. There's a new person they gave me to work with, and trying to hopefully get him to come to a fundraiser later in the summertime for the Tri-Valley area. So if you're interested, if anybody wants to carpool with me, I do have a couple seats. I could take a couple people if you would like to go, and that is this Thursday. Those are all of the announcements. Yes, Kyoko, definitely. Jerry's on my list. And we will be working really hard for Jerry again this election cycle, I'm sure. Any other announcements, comments? Nelson, do you want to go ahead and talk about Anna Eshu?
Oh, no, I'm good. It's just that the former mayor of San Jose, Sam Liccardo, he came in highest. I forgot who the second person was, but there no one crossed 50%. So yeah, there's gonna be a general with that down in the South Bay.
Thank you. Okay, are there any other updates, additions, comments, questions? Okay, then, in closing, I guess I want to say that thank you all for being hardworking Democrats, and helping in any way you can. Look for those ways to help in some of these congressional districts that we need to get blue, and other opportunities to help the campaign of your choice. And William, did you have a question or comment?
No, I just wanted to introduce myself. So
Oh.
good evening, everybody. Thank you for letting me sit in your club meeting. My name is William Mutzenberg. I am the secretary of the San Joaquin County Democratic Central Committee and a member of both the Stockton and Tracy Democratic clubs. I was invited by Richard to attend this evening, and I wanted to, learn more about what your clubs are doing out in the Tri-Valley area, especially now that Jerry McNerney is covering, or that Senate district now covers parts of the Tri-Valley area. So wanted to be more involved and introduce myself. So I appreciate that. And we'll definitely be coming to more of your meetings in the future, if that's okay with all of you, to see what we can do to synergize our efforts between the two counties.
We would love to have you here. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Richard, for thinking of us. We do need to be a team. And did Richard, can you send me his contact information so I can get him on the MailChimp and all that? And if that's all right.
I got you. Don't worry, Jackie. I got you.
Thanks, Richard. Thank you, William. Thanks for joining us. It's always nice to see how they're doing different things in the different central committees. We should have a conversation about that someday.
Absolutely, would love that.
Okay, then with that, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? I see a second from Alan and Mary. So with that, I will bid you a farewell. Everybody have a safe evening and a good evening, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.